Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you are new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds. If you'd like to join the family, hit that subscribe button down below. Also, make sure you click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate on the discussion, you can join me most weekdays where I go live on YouTube, or outside of my YouTube channel, you can consider joining the Discord I created or the Facebook group that I've created. There are links to them down in the description below. Also down in the description below is a link to a Pinterest board. That is a great place for you guys to check out the different meals and recipes that I've been enjoying as I've been working towards my goal. Today is day 1026 of my challenge to lose 300 pounds. So far, through a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet, I have been able to lose 270 pounds so far. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, I love hearing those as well. If you are succeeding with your diet, let us know what you're doing to succeed. Share that with the rest of us. If you are struggling with your diet, let us know what's causing your struggles. It might be something we can help you with. There's a lot of people on here that have been doing this for a long time. And I've been doing it for a while here as well. So maybe we can help you out. And at the end of the day, what are some things that you are doing or that you can do that will make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Let's go ahead, switch over to the main screen here. Hello. I hope everybody had a wonderful day today. It is hot. I was fortunate to be inside most of the day, but I did step outside here recently and it is incredibly hot here. It's that time of year that it gets hot like that. So it's not surprising. We knew it was coming. Hopefully the kids can hop in the pool tonight and cool off a little bit. Maybe I'll hop in the pool too and cool off a little bit with this heat. So, tough to do anything outside in this heat, that's for sure. But let's go ahead. I'm going to go over food since yesterday. Let me get this up and running. I did not get it going. Let's see. So yesterday, my phone, or something wrong with my phone, because a bunch of my photos are like delayed. Like I took this photo here, was supposed to be a photo of my lunch. Obviously that's not a photo of my lunch. So I got to figure out what the deal is with that. But so I had a bunch of photos or I thought I had more photos than I do. So for dinner last night, we had mega veggie chili. It was a little bit different than our normal mega veggie chili because Carrie had used farro in it instead of the bulgur wheat. I really enjoyed it with the farro. And I don't know that we always put green peas in it as well. So that was dinner last night. Really, it was awesome. I mean, this is the meal, mega veggie chili. I talked about it a bunch yesterday. You know, the first photos of it might look a little different than it now, but it's because we've modified the recipe to our liking. And with something like mega veggie chili, it's really just taking cans of the vegetables that you have on hand and just throwing them in. So, you know, throwing the peas in there, the corn in there. It's all stuff that I don't know if those are in the original recipe, but we add it to make it our own. Then this morning I had my standard oatmeal with mushrooms, onions, and spinach. And then my lunch photo got screwed up, and I was planning on taking a couple photos of my lunch because it was so delicious. But lunch was our standard, and I just ate it like within the last hour. so I'm burping from it as I'm talking. But lunch was potatoes and broccoli. I only had 6 potatoes today. I had 7 potatoes yesterday, but one of the potatoes was massive. I tried to get a photo of it. I promise it was huge. But yeah, just a big bowl of potatoes and broccoli for lunch today with some table tasty for seasoning. Laura here says that looks so good. Yes, the Mega Veggie Chili was really good here. And we really enjoy that meal. It's one of the recipes that we can kind of get our kids to eat it sometimes. I think we had big plans for this summer about changing our kids' diet. I'm just thinking about it now as I'm talking, because the kids went back to school today. Today was their first day of school, so the house was cleared out, and we didn't have to deal with running them around to different places during the day to day, or we didn't have to make sure they survived through the day. We put that on somebody else. So it was great that the kids are back at school, but now I'm thinking about it in hindsight and realizing that we had talked about using this summer as an opportunity to change our kids' diets, and we didn't do it at all. And in hindsight, it's a horrible idea. The best time for us to change our kids' diet would probably be during the school year, when we have like a routine or a regular schedule. For the last couple years, we've been making our kids lunches, or providing the lunches for our kids. So we really have a lot of control over breakfast and lunch. And then they're not in the house for half the day. During the summer, kids are in the house all day. They're hungry. They want something to eat. And so it's much easier to have those tortilla chips and pretzels and hummus and barbecue chips and things like that for the kids in the summer. So Carrie's checking in saying hello, Carrie. I'm just talking about how, at least for me in my head, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned it to you prior to the summer, that we should try to get our kids to change the diet, change our kids' diet through the summer. And it did not go well at all. Our kids ate lots of processed foods, lots of your pie pizzas, and going to the vegan restaurants around us and things like that for the kids. So, yeah, the best laid plans. And really, we didn't have a plan, and that was probably part of the reason why we didn't get didn't make any headway in that front. And I'm trying to even think if our kids, I feel like they did try some. Oh, you know what we did do though? I do take it back a little bit. One of our kids, at least one of our kids, started really enjoying broccoli this summer. It was always a fight to get them to eat broccoli, and over the summer here, she started to say, "Hey, I'll take broccoli and rice, or I'll have just broccoli." And so that, I guess, is a little bit of a win. Carrie here says summer is hard. Maybe now would be a better time. Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying when you first got on here, is that now we actually probably have more control over the kids' food than we did during the summer. And then we're also, they're not in the house, they're doing something for half the day. They're out doing their different school. They're at school learning, and so they don't have time to snack all of the time. Pretty Girl's mom says, John, will you be sharing your weigh-in today? No, I did not weigh in today, or I'm not doing a weigh-in right now. I'm going to kind of wait a little bit. I had rebounded a little bit after Ragbri, and then just found that I want to kind of, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm gonna wait a little bit, maybe have a big reveal as I get closer, or I might not weigh in on stream until I get to the 3-year mark. So it's like 70 days from now, so 2 months from now. So we'll see. I haven't figured it all out. Everything is kind of uh, and I'm learning as I go, or I'm doing it as I go here, but I'm not going to have a weigh-in today. There's not going to be any weigh-in Wednesdays coming up for a while. I am, yeah, that's just the way it is. Sherry here says, hello, first time commenting. You've been watching your channel and learning a lot. I need to lose 40 pounds and I'm eating plant-based now. You are very motivational to watch. Thank you so much, Sherry. I really appreciate that. I know that if you continue to eat a whole food plant-based diet, and if you can do it without any added salt, oil, and sugar, that eventually you will get that 40 pounds off. It may not be as quick as you want to get it off, but eventually it'll go away as long as you're eating and staying compliant to the diet. Carrie here says that she did try to feed them oats instead of toast for a few days for breakfast, and no one enjoyed it because they're all weird. Yes, they are all weird. Yes, and Carrie says, I do weigh in on my own, even if I'm not sharing it. And then Matt here says, the kids will be just fine. They see how well mommy and daddy are doing. They are armed with the knowledge that may not be enough to really change them, but it's more than than Matt had. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really even a thing. Like healthy eating was not on our minds a whole lot growing up, you know, and it's something that it's become a societal problem more over probably the last 20 years than it did the 20 years prior to that. You know, throughout the 40 years of my life, obesity has been climbing in the country and in the world. But I would imagine that it's run more rampant the last 20 years than the first 20 years of my life. And yeah, I really just hope to give them a good example, show them that you can eat vegetables. They're not awful. I really, I developed such an aversion to vegetables, and I think it was a lot because I was able to avoid them. I was fortunate enough that I could get, well, I guess unfortunate enough, I guess is what I should say, was unfortunate enough that I was able to get plenty of food that wasn't plant food. And obviously I got more than enough because it got me up to 520 pounds. But I would avoid it. Like if we went to a restaurant that served Mexican food, a lot of times the entrees come with a side of rice and a side of beans. And I would always just get all beans and get no rice because I just hated rice. I did not like eating rice. If I ordered a burger that had tomato on it, I would get it with no tomato. If they made a mistake and they left the tomato on it, the tomato was coming off. I would not eat tomatoes, at least uncooked tomatoes at all. And you're able to avoid vegetables, and I did. And that caused a lot of problems for me. You know, I hope my kids never have to deal with being 100 pounds overweight or 200 pounds overweight or 300 pounds overweight like I got myself to. So just being a good example, they can see where I was and where I'm getting myself to, and the difference between the two people is amazing, and hopefully they enjoy this version of me more than they enjoyed the 500-pound version of me. And Carrie here says, absolutely, the way we eat is not extreme to them like it is to people that eat the standard American diet. Yes, that's something that, like I said, my parents never, I don't know, they didn't make, diet a big thing or what they were eating. I didn't look at what they were eating and think of it as health food or not health food. And I suppose our kids kind of look at food through that lens now. Really, up until I started this challenge, food was just food. It didn't matter where the calorie came from as long as I got the calorie. And now I realize that it is very important where the food comes from. Cindy here says, hi all, finally sunny day here. So you were in the garden. Sorry for the late arrival. No, Cindy, no problem. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us and listening to the video. Pretty Girl's mom just says, I'm glad you're back on track and being compliant. Yes, it's so good to be back on track and be compliant because I feel better. That momentary the momentary spike of dopamine that you get from eating the processed foods, it may increase your mood and your overall feeling, but it's only temporary. After your body eats that food and digests it or processes it, then I feel like you end up going, your normal state ends up becoming lower. And the more you keep the processed foods on it, the more kind of without the stimulants, your overall mood just keeps going down, or it goes up if you get rid of the processed foods. And so I have been noticing that my overall energy, my overall mood, my overall feeling, like the pain in my ankles is really just gone. I do have some soreness from running this past weekend, but it's not that bad. Like I thought it was going to be worse. And eating this way, I believe, helps with recovery from workouts, just from my experience. And so, yes, I'm happy to be back on track. Sherry here says, you're really struggling with ranch dressing. It's your favorite salad dressing, and you don't like balsamic type dressing. Can any of you help me find a plant-based creamy salad dressing? I'm going to go right to California balsamics. They are going to be thicker than like the normal balsamic. And they have some wonderful flavors. They have an Italian dressing that's really good. It's like 7-herb Italian, I think, that we've gotten that most of the times when we order it. I'm sure they have some other options. The next thing, outside of the California balsamics, I would say is start experimenting and making your own salad dressings. That's what we started with, was a mustard salad dressing or mustard kind of flavored dressing that used tahini. And sometimes you can use cashews to make your own salad dressings. If you don't have a high-speed blender, you might want to look into investing in one if you're going to be making your own sauces and your own food. Some of the things that we picked up over the last couple years that we use a lot. The first one is our Instapot, our pressure cooker. The next thing we use, as far as gadgets go, would be probably our Vitamix, or the Breville, which is an air fryer, but we don't really air fry. For us, we don't air fry a lot of foods. So for our diet, I would say that the Instapot is the number one kitchen utensil or device that we use, and then having the Vitamix, the high speed blender, has been amazing as far as making our own sauces and marinaras and just mixing things in general. So if you have the ability to get a high speed blender, we might have some dressing recipes in on our Pinterest board. We really like the mustard dressing, and I ate that a lot for a long time. That was what I would eat on our salads. We did California balsamics would be the next kind of thing that we used, and then I actually don't use any salad dressing on my salads now. I really enjoy getting the actual flavors of the vegetables that I'm eating. And if you put a mouthful of salad in your mouth, it's dry when you put it in your mouth, but after you chew it for just a few times, all of the moisture inside of the spinach or the lettuce you're using, and then all of the vegetables have moisture in them. You actually end up with like a full mouth of food and water by the time you get done chewing. It's so for me, it's kind of transitioned from needing to have that creamy mustard dressing to being at a point where maybe having some fruit on the salad adds a little bit more moisture, a little bit different flavor. But just eating the salad just as is without any dressing is something that I've been able to work myself to that point. So, but yeah, if you can get away from the processed, store versions of those dressings, that's going to be the best. If not, some people might have some other compliant dressings they can share. Like I said, that California balsamic. And let's see. Ron here says your girls who are teens are very different. One of them is 100% whole food plant-based, and the other is 50% by default. We never force them to finish anything, and you still feel the 50% is better than the alternative. Yeah, just getting our kids to eat the food or give it a chance. Like that was the toughest thing, is just give it a shot. I know you don't like red peppers and it looks like there's red peppers all over the meal. Just try it. You might surprise yourself. Maybe you just didn't like the red peppers last time, and so, yeah, just getting them to try them. And then eventually they start to develop a taste like our daughter did with the broccoli. We're fortunate right now that our kids are young enough that they still just kind of do what we say. And so, but as they get older and they start being able to go out on their own, they're going to end up, having to make their own choices. At this point, they are as good about checking things for whether or not they're vegan or not as we are, and they self-regulate themselves pretty good right now. So we'll see how it goes for them. Our son just started junior high, so he'll have the pressure of his peers, and he's going to be the weird vegan kid, so hopefully it's not a big deal. And really it's just one period out of the day where you go and eat lunch that it makes a difference. Other than that, there's no difference in what his day is going to be. Carrie said that we do have one on our Pinterest board, and then it's called the Maple Dijon dressing. Pretty Girl's mom says that if you want to make your own, that she would recommend checking out Nutmeg Notebook's version. Yeah, if you're looking for recipes, Nutmeg Notebook is going to be a great place for recipes. Chef AJ has lots of recipes out there. I'm sure there's other creators out there that have whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free recipes that you can find. And then Sherry says, wow, I will try eating salad with no dressing. Yeah, give it a shot. We've thrown like blueberries on our dressing to add just a little bit of different flavor and a little bit more moisture. But yeah, I don't mind eating dressing or eating salad just plain. It's something that, well, we probably, it's having dressing on your salad. It's not, somebody had to start doing that at some point. It wasn't, and yeah, it's tough to know what came first, the salad or the dressing. If people were, anyways. But yeah, give it a shot without the dressing. We definitely enjoy it. Matt here says he's turned yet another corner. He made tomato vegetable cabbage soup, and it'll serve him well for days. It really does eclipse any part of the standard American diet. That's awesome. Tomato vegetable cabbage soup sounds delicious. It's been a while since we had cabbage. And soups are awesome. Soups really help with keeping the volume you eat down. We haven't had a soup in a while, now that I think about it, but we haven't had a lot of things in a while. We're still getting kind of back into things from our July trip, and I really think the kids going back to school is going to help us get back into our routine with food and life and everything. Carrie here says that she does really enjoy the berries on her salad. She used frozen berries, and you defrost them in the microwave so they are thawed and they're in their own juice, and then you just dump it all over the salad. Yes. And Cindy says that sounds great. Sherry also says they'll have to try that as well. Yes. Really enjoy just plain salads. And if you'd have told me I would be saying that 1,050 days ago, I would have slapped you. Drinking Shadow checking in saying hello. Sorry, I'm late. No worries, Drinking Shadow. How are you today? I'm doing amazing. Just kind of been talking about eating this way and some good salad dressings. If you have any recommendations on a place to find some good salad dressings, let us know. Sherry here says that you made a good recipe from Well Your World. Oh my gosh, it was so good, Sherry. We had the pizza oatmeal bake as well. It was phenomenal. And their recipe is on their Facebook page. Yes, we made the pizza oatmeal bake. If anybody else made that, let us know. But yes, we did enjoy that. My only complaint was that Carrie made it when our in-laws were in town, and so I had to share it with 2 more people than we normally would have shared it with. But yes, it was really good. The seasoning, I think I might have added some seasoning. Somebody had posted a photo that they used one of like the Reeb sauce on top of their oatmeal bake. And they said that they really enjoyed having that on there. Carrie says we got to bring back Mega Veggie Mondays. We had it on Tuesday and it's just not the same. And then Drinking Shadow says that berries and grapes are great in salads, and to check out the Well Your World dressings as well. Carrie's saying that we made the pizza oatmeal bake from the Well Your World this past weekend when the parents were visiting. You really liked it, and you might like it better with a little extra marinara. Yes, that's what we talked about at the time, was throwing some marinara sauce in there. And then Pretty Girl's mom says that it looks good, but she has not tried the pizza oatmeal bake yet. Yeah, it's worth trying the recipe out. Like Carrie said, maybe a little bit of marinara sauce would be awesome, just to kind of mix that in, get a little bit of flavor in there with that. But yes, that's awesome. That's great that you're trying different recipes, Sherry. And, you know, for us, it's really to the point that we have, I don't know, 4 or 5 kind of recipes that we keep the ingredients to on hand. The Mega Veggie Chili is one that we have quite often. Spanish rice is something that's real easy to make that we have quite often. The polenta with white beans, the creamy polenta with white beans and mushrooms is another meal that we have kind of on our regular roster of things that we eat, or the ingredients we keep on hand. Um, and we've just kind of, over the past 3 years, those 5 things have kind of changed. We didn't start making the creamy polenta until like a year ago. And so before that, it might have been brown rice noodles and marinara sauce that we ate more of. And so we just kind of get into trends with what we're eating. And then every now and then Carrie will buy a random ingredient at the grocery store that, you know, it looks like their, you know, eggplant is on sale, or they got eggplant that looks good. So she'll grab an eggplant and then look up a recipe to, you know, what can I make with eggplant and these few other things I have on hand. And we've had some great kind of one-off recipes. One of the recipes that I saw a photo of it yesterday, and we haven't had it for a while, I'd love to have again, is some of the meals from the Chef AJ reboot. She had like a red lentil chili, I think, that was really good. That for a while that was kind of regularly in our routine, and then you just kind of forget about it, or you change and you start doing something different. So Carrie says she's got to whip up some marinara this week, and then we can try that pizza oatmeal bake again. Sherry here says that you added Italian seasoning to it, baked it 30 minutes, and then you flipped it over with another piece of parchment paper, baked it for another 20 minutes, and you could hold it like a pizza. That sounds really good. Yeah, adding the Italian seasoning probably helped it a little bit there. And that's kind of what I think Carrie was hoping with the marinara sauce, which would likely have Italian seasoning in it. Jennifer here says, hi, everyone. Just got home from playing with one of the grandbabies, and you can physically play now. There's a non-scale victory for Jennifer there. That is awesome, Jennifer. I love hearing that you're able to get out there and play with your grandbabies, because it's something that I definitely want to be able to do. And I'm hoping I don't have to worry about grandbabies for years and years and years to come. But if I don't fix my health now, I won't be able to play with my grandbabies 10 and 20 years from now when they start arriving. So that is awesome that you were able to go out and play. It reminds me a little bit of a story I guess I'll share from the trip we did in July. It was so each day we would travel to a different town. We'd have to set up our campsite, and we would be camping at different places in each town. And in one of the towns that we camped at, they had it was a park. It was a city park that had like a pavilion, and then they had swings, and they had a merry-go-round, and just I don't know if they had seesaws or not, teeter-totters, but they had just a bunch of play equipment, and it was older kind of play equipment. Like having a merry-go-round is not something that you see a lot of. And so anyways, me and my son, we leave early to get to the next town so that we can we can make sure that our area is kind of roped off and we have enough space for the campers that we're providing services for. And so we got to this park at like 6 in the morning, and I saw the merry-go-round and we had some extra time. And so me and my son went and just played on the playground equipment, and it was a lot of fun to be able to get on. And I don't know if you know what a merry-go-round is. I don't know if I can pull a photo up maybe. Let's see, here we go. See if I can get a full photo of this. So this is, we're gonna move this so I can show you guys just a photo of a merry-go-round. All right. So this is what a merry-go-round is, and it's just a big metal death device. You can watch up some videos of people doing some dumb things on them, I'm sure. And you don't see a lot of them at new playgrounds. So anyways, we got to the park and they had this merry-go-round and they had swings. And so for probably 15-20 minutes, me and my kid just played on the playground, and it was a lot of fun just being out there and doing that. Just like, because 3 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to do half of what I did. I might have been able to stand next to it and kind of spin him around, but like I was like full on playing on this thing. Like it was at a little bit of a tilt, and so like based on where your body was, you could kind of create momentum, and you would have had to have been there. So anyways, but yeah, I had a lot of fun playing with him, and I thought that nobody was watching me. And then I found out like 8 hours later, I was talking to one of the people that lived in one of the houses next to the park, and they kind of called me out on it. They were like, "Were you out here with your son earlier today?" And I was kind of like, "Yeah, I was." And they just kind of had a big smile on their face, and I could tell that I was out there having fun. And it was, yeah, they were happy to see somebody out there playing on the park. It was in their backyard. So that's awesome. Jennifer, I know I went into a long story about playing, but I think that's awesome that you were able to get out there and play. And you say it's a better feeling than any crappy food could offer. 100%. Getting to do that is so much better than any food tastes. Let me see if I missed any comments. Lots of way to go, Jennifer. Janet checking in. Hi, Janet. Hope everything's going great for you today. Let's see. Shrinking Shadow says, I remember those merry-go-rounds. I didn't think they were still around. They were fun until you got thrown off. Yes. There's been, come to Iowa, find some old city parks, and you'll find some old merry-go-rounds. There's no new ones. They're not putting new ones in parks, or if they are, they're different. They're much safer in design. I think I've seen some big like plastic ones that are much safer than the old metal ones. But yeah, so it was fun to play on, and I did not get thrown off. That's Jennifer says that's great. Yeah, it was fun. And it's great that like I have that memory of that, but I hope my son also has that memory. I hope your grandbabies have some memory of that, or at least that instills that memory of you being the fun grandmother, and you know, being willing to go do things with them. Like that's something that hurt a lot, was not being willing to do things with my kids because of my weight. I would try to push them into doing something different, or if I did do something, I wasn't able to give them all of myself because I was using so much energy just to be there. And things are so much easier now. Um, let's see. Uh, Janet here says that she's going to make some hard shell tacos out of organic, fresh corn. That sounds delicious. Are you still doing the raw thing? I know you were doing raw there for 30 days. Is that over? I think somebody had asked about that yesterday. Um, Pretty Girl's mom says the merry-go-round in your first grade playground was made out of wood, and you actually got splinters from all that fun. Um, wow, out of wood. Yeah, that would be. Wonder if there's. Can't imagine a wooden merry-go-round. Not finding any images of them right off. Old wooden merry-go-round. I don't know. I guess that's wood. Holy cow. That's uh yes, an old wooden merry-go-round here. So it's still got metal sides, but the base of it there is like wooden plywood. So there's actually seats in that one though. It looks like it might be a little bit safer than the old ones, or the metal ones without a seat. But yes, I'm sure I would have gotten a ton of splinters from a wooden merry-go-round. Janet here says you're still doing the raw. That's awesome. Your 30 days is over, but you're still going. You were supposed to do a bike tour, but the North Cascade Highway is closed due to fire and smoke and falling debris on the road. Yeah, that doesn't sound like it would be too fun to go biking in. I mean, it would be like some serious adventure cycling, right? Like see if you can survive the fires. So how are you making hard shell tacos out of corn if it's raw? I'm just curious. Is it something to do with that wrap? There was a lady that you guys were kind of following, or there was somebody that had wraps. I vaguely remember. Let's say Pretty Girl's mom here says you were in Kansas. You're not in Kansas anymore. But yes, right next to Iowa, very close to us there. Yes, I'm sure that if you go through Kansas, you'll probably find some older ones. Well, it's probably down to whatever. There's probably some law that doesn't allow them to put them in anymore, but doesn't require them to remove old ones, because a lot of the ones I've seen have been pretty old and beat up and needed a little bit of work. Janet here says that it's Raw Food Romance that you've been following her stuff. And that it's her ebook on tacos. Okay. And so then now you can have Taco Tuesday again. Yes, that's awesome. Yes, you can have Taco Tuesday now on your raw diet. You can have those again. I wonder if you could have always done like a deconstructed taco bowl, right? Just throw some corn inside there and say that's your tortilla shell. Okay, so you use a dehydrator to remove the moisture from your food, so it's not cooking it, but you're still doing. Okay, I see. And then so you put out a dehydrator tray for 10 hours, and then you shape them and you dehydrate them for more hours, and then they get crunchy. So it's just taking the moisture out of the food. Okay. And you dehydrate the food at 115 degrees. That's cool. And that's the wraps. Is that how you made them with the dehydrator as well? I was kind of curious, I imagine. Uh, and we have a dehydrator. We could mess with that. We have only made a couple things in our dehydrator, and the one of the things that we made, and this is years ago at this point, was banana chips. And Carrie always talks about how amazing the banana chips were that we made in our dehydrator because they weren't completely dehydrated. It was like halfway or 75% dehydrated, and they were like these little banana gummies that were really good. But we never went through the effort to do it again. And yeah, we just haven't messed with the dehydrator function on our Breville has a dehydrator, and then Carrie has like a dehydrator that she used for some Carrie says banana gummies. Yes, banana gummies. We remember them fondly the one time we made them. And Janet here says that if you dehydrate at the lower temperature, it doesn't kill the enzymes. And that is also how you do the wraps. Yes, she uses the dehydrator for the wraps also. And then Sherry says, I recently got rid of mine. Is that your dehydrator? Yeah. There's different things we've thought about using a dehydrator for, but it's so time consuming. You gotta, like you said, it was 10 hours that you have to dehydrate them initially, and then you shape them, and then you dehydrate them for longer. And a lot of prep work. Carrie says she's over here trying to figure out what she's going to make for dinner tonight in the next hour. She needs to go grocery shopping, and you're doing all this pre-planning and getting things ready to go days in advance. So that's awesome. The topic I wanted to talk about today, and you're making mini sloppy joes. That sounds good. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Is that recipe? Mushrooms are the buns. I was wondering what you were going to use for buns, what you were using for your meat. But you could probably use like cauliflower or something for the meat with the right seasonings. So yeah, is that another raw food romance recipe that you're making, the sloppy joes? It's lentils. Okay, that makes sense. And yes, it's raw. So you just soak the red lentils. Uh, oh, they're sprouted lentils. Okay, that's cool. Again, all that pre-work. We tried doing sprouting, and we've done it a little bit, but again, it's thinking ahead there. That's awesome. Sherry here says Plentiful Kiki recently made a lentil potato soup that was really good, and the recipe is on her Instagram. That's awesome. Yeah, there's some great recipes out there, and really for any taste preference, any ingredients you have on hand, you can get on the internet and you can find a recipe. There's no excuse to not be able to try these foods. I could see maybe 20 years ago when you were trying to hunt down a good cookbook or finding plant-based meals would have been a little bit more difficult. It would have been more on your own, figuring things out or sticking to like more simple kind of things. But now with all of the great creators out there that have wonderful cookbooks, and then you can also take cookbooks that, we've taken cookbooks like the Plant Powered Families, I think is what it was. And their recipes don't always, some of the recipes might have salt or oil or sugar or things that have salt, oil, and sugar in them. And we just swap them out for something that's compliant for us. So it's really easy to find meals and find recipes that will fit your preference. You know, I think I heard somebody before say, um, uh, you know, just type in, you know, whatever food you want and then plant-based, and there'll be a recipe. You want pizza, type in plant-based pizza. If you want tacos, type in plant-based tacos. You can find a recipe for anything here. Janet here says that she has to run, but just wanted to come say hi and we'll listen later. So great you're back on track. How is the swelling in the legs? It is getting much better. The pain in my ankles is not kind of there, I guess. It's a weird, it's not even a pain. It's just like the bones are moving because of the swelling, and it was uncomfortable. So yes, they're getting better. I would say that they're not there yet. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to them getting better. My left leg never really had a problem. My right leg, just is stubborn, but yes, it's getting better. So, thanks for asking. So today, conquering obesity with diet. And what I wanted to talk about with that is that from the start of this challenge, my goal has been to no longer be obese. Starting at 520 pounds as a 6 foot tall man, if I lose 300 pounds, that puts me at the bottom of the obese category or at the top of the overweight category. And that has been, or that was my goal from the start. I've been obese my whole life, and I wanted to get to a point where I was not in the obese category anymore. And when I started, I put it into a calculator, and my BMI was 70% at 520 pounds. 70, and you know, my BMI was 70%. 70% of my body mass was fat. And that leaves only 30% of being the actual me in the muscle and the bones and the things like that. And it's just crazy that I got myself to that point. I was looking at BMI charts, and the charts don't even go that high. Like, I had to find a calculator where I typed in my weight to see, because after 400 pounds, you know, or at least the chart I checked out didn't go over 400 pounds. And obesity is a problem that so many people are facing. And when I was looking at the stats today, I really kind of realized that in our country or in our world or these days now, it's easier to be fat than it is to be skinny. And it's very easy to be fat. And it's so easy to be fat that most people are overweight. I think that the obesity number is up to like 50%. I didn't even look at what the just overweight number is, but it's 60-70% of people are overweight. And that's not normal. It shouldn't be that most of our population is overweight. There's no other species in the world that most of their population is overweight from what they should be. And we just keep creeping up more and more and more. It's and it's crazy how it's the food systems that we're surrounded by, um, the uh, and to try to eat healthy, like we have to actively go out of our way to eat healthy. We can't eat at restaurants. We can't go out to eat at all. Like there's no place that caters to somebody who eats a plant-based diet. Even the restaurants around us that are vegan, they aren't plant-based. They're because they need to sell food that people are going to buy. And unfortunately, people aren't demanding healthy food. And that's what we have to start doing, is demanding healthy food for ourselves, and and pushing towards eating um the right foods. And if that means that we can't go out to restaurants, then that means that we can't go out to restaurants. But one of the things that I found throughout this challenge is that in my mind, I started with the idea that I no longer want to be obese. And that was the word obese is just the word that I put to the things I didn't want to be living with anymore. I didn't want to be living with sleep apnea anymore. I didn't want to be dealing with having my heart rate spike anytime I walked up a flight of steps. I didn't want to deal with the pain in my feet and my ankles, you know, and but all of that was under that obesity umbrella. But what I found is that a lot of those things that I was worried about went away fairly quickly. I don't wear a mask anymore for my sleep, so I don't suffer from sleep apnea like I did before. Outside of these, the little bit of swelling that's come back to my legs, it's nothing in comparison to what my legs were when I started. Is So what happens is, over time, as you're losing weight, all of these things that you were trying to avoid, you realize that you're avoiding them. You've gotten away from them, and it it becomes easy to lose sight of that goal. The goal of conquering my obesity, because I've conquered so many aspects of it. I feel so much better at this point, and I feel so much better now than I ever thought I would. I couldn't imagine how I was going to feel at 250 pounds, because I had not been 250 pounds since I was 14. And so that I I didn't know how good I was going to feel. And that had that feeling good has led to the slipping of my diet and the letting off the gas, because I got rid of those things that I was worried about. But I still haven't gotten to where I need to be. And that's what I need to continue to focus on, is getting to that healthy weight. And what has really helped is that I've moved my goalpost a bit. And like, I still want to get to 220 pounds. But when I look at these BMI charts and I look at what I could weigh, and I don't want to just not be obese anymore. I want to be to a point where I'm not overweight anymore. And that's going to take a lot more time and a little bit more effort to do, but eventually I can get there. And that's really amazing to me, that I'm wanting to push this goal even further, and I haven't gotten to 220, so I can't, um, I can't I got to hit that milestone first. But it doesn't end at 220 pounds. 220 pounds puts me at the top end of overweight. And now my goal is not just to conquer obesity, but it's to conquer being overweight and becoming a healthy weight. Um I never even contemplated being under 220 pounds. In fact, setting my goal of 220 pounds when I started this was uh, it was like a unicorn. I'm trying to think of there's a fictional number, because from the time I was 16 years old, I had people telling me that I that I should be 220 pounds, or I could be 220 pounds. And it really stems from a BMI test that I did in high school, where they they actually took the calipers and they pinched my muscles and kind of did the numbers. And it told me that, because at the time, uh, uh, with wrestling, and this is the only reason this came up, is there was a weight class that was 215 pounds. And I was pretty much told that I wouldn't likely be able to get to 215 pounds, which is a horrible thing to tell a kid, because anybody should be able to get to 215 pounds. Um, but I held on to that, well, I'll never be able to get under 220 pounds. And so that's kind of why I put that goal in front of myself, was to get to that weight where they said that I would be healthy. And I'm realizing that I will be healthier, but I won't be the healthiest until I get down to, 18, 20, 22% body fat, which again is going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort. A few questions here. Pretty Girl's mom says, I'd like to know how your swelling is decreasing. Well, it's tough for me to measure it. The only way I can really measure the swelling decreasing is when I wear long socks. And the compression from the sock puts a ring around my ankle. And I mean, I can just look at it now and I can see that there's swelling, and it's not as bad as yesterday, or a couple days ago. How much that swelling has gone down, I don't know. I don't have a tape measure around or I haven't measured it, but it is getting better. And really the only way I have to measure it is when I wear long socks. Matt here says that obesity robs you of everything. It does. I love that you can play with your kids. Yes. And it really warms my heart that they will treasure that forever, guaranteed. I think that they will. I think that they will. They aren't going to know, and really nobody is going to know the difference that my weight loss has had on their future. But just me being present is going to be better than what was likely the future with the way things were going. And yes, I'm so happy that I get to do the things with them, and I get to be the fun dad, and I get to throw them around and play with them. Throw them onto the couch, not just throw them around. Just, there you go, I'm just throwing you over there, or throwing them in the swimming pool, like having fun and playing with them. And it's funny because I'm that dad because that's the dad I had. And yeah, it's fun to be able to play with them. Like I got to play with my dad, and they wouldn't have had quite that much fun if I wouldn't have lost the weight. So it's awesome. Shrinking Shadow says that weight is sneaky. It's not that you wake up one day and you're obese. No, it is definitely a slow boil. The weight sneaks on little by little, but thank goodness we knew when to say enough is enough. Yes. And I want to get a bag or a sack and put 270 pounds worth of weight in, in like 3 or 4 different backpacks, and then pick them up and throw them on my back and try to walk around. I cannot imagine what carrying around another 270 pounds. I mean, I can imagine, but like the difference, like it's I can't imagine like what it would be like to go into that just instantaneously. If up until you were 18, you were a healthy weight, and then all of a sudden the day after you turned 18, you gained 200 pounds. It would be really tough to get around for that next few weeks. Eventually you would probably work up the strength and be able to get around and do things. But the way it doesn't happen like that. It happens much slower. You gain 1/10 of a pound or 1/4 pound or 1/2 pound each day. And then eventually you are, so heavy you can't walk around or you can't do anything fun. So yes, it does sneak up on you. And it'll sneak back up on you too. You have to stay diligent. You have to stay on diet. This is not a temporary diet. This is not something that you're going to be doing until you get to your goal weight. You need to change your lifestyle. You need to make your diet this way. You need to as cliche as it always is, make it your way of life. Make it your lifestyle. It is truly important that you do that, because you are what you eat. And if you want to be healthy, you need to eat healthy foods. Let's see here. Jennifer, it says it's amazing to be able to move the body and actually feel good again. Yes. And not be sore for days on end afterwards. And even if you are sore, imagine how much more sore you would have been had you not been eating this way. Jennifer here says that they suffered from health issues which tried to rob you from your quality of life, and it is a journey. Yes. And then also says community is so important, and I'm glad to be part of this one. That's great. Thank you so much, Jennifer. And it's important to get out there and share your successes with people, share your struggles with people, ask for help. That's something that event I do. I talked to my wife about it afterwards, and I really enjoy the people I get to meet. And one of the things I love is meeting the people that are willing to go ask for help. It's something that I've never had a problem with that. Like, if I was lost, I would go ask directions right away. Like, instead of wandering around lost longer, I would go ask somebody for help, go ask somebody for directions. And the RAGBRAI bike ride that we do is such a hard experience for these people. And the people, I truly believe the people that have the most fun or have the best time are the ones that are willing to ask for help when they're down or when they need it. And that is the same way with this diet. You need to ask for help. You need to reach out. You need to let people know when you need help. And you'll be amazed at how generous people are with their time and with their knowledge if you're willing to ask for help. So yes, community is a huge part of everything. And it really just It's how we grow as a society. If we didn't pass along knowledge to each other, then we would be like the chickens and the cows and the pigs that we eat. We would just, they don't have that ability. Like community and knowledge are unique to us in that way, in some ways, being able to pass that information on. So yes, become part of a community, start your own community, do something with a community. And it helps a ton. Shrinking Shadow says that you'll get there. Yes, I will eventually get to that healthy weight. You have the right mindset, so you will reach those goals, and you are a wonderful inspiration. And then Shrinking Shadow says you were carrying around another overweight person. Yes, I was carrying around more than myself at this point, which is just crazy that I did that. And that I was able to do, just being able to do that. Like, and but was I, like, was it really being able? Was I an able-bodied person? Like, I don't know. Was I? And there's so many things I was not able to do, like tie my own shoes, clip my own toenails, silly, dumb things. And yes, that's great. It's getting better. Yes, everything is getting much better. And but that is the trap you have to avoid, is that things are so much better. Everything about my life is 500, 1,000 times better. There's no part of my life that is worse now than when I started. Everything is improved. And all of those improvements means that a bunch of the motivations that I had when I started went away, because I wasn't suffering from that horrible sleep or that debilitating pain. And so again, it becomes easy to let up and to allow the junk food back in. And you have to understand, again, it's a lifelong commitment to eating this way. And what comes with that lifelong commitment too is understanding that in a 365-day period, you might not be perfect for 365 days, but being 90% there is going to be way better than you were before. And really the ultimate goal for me is to be 100% compliant, is to be compliant all the time, because I know it can be done. There's other people that are doing it. I wouldn't be the first person that was whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free, and compliant 100%. But it is difficult to live in this world and be compliant 100%, because our world is set up to make us eat these foods. It's that we're surrounded by awful foods. So anyways, I am going to get out of here. Matt's checking out, saying good night. If Matt's leaving, then I got to leave. No, thanks for checking out the video, but it has been over an hour. I appreciate all you guys that are checking out my videos and supporting me. Monique is here asking, are you totally back on track? What is your why now? It is hard to be 100%. Yes, I am totally back on track now. My why is still to not be obese anymore. My why is to not be overweight anymore. My why is to be around for my kids for years and years to come. And the closer I get to being a healthy BMI and staying at a healthy BMI, the longer, the better chance I have to be around. Obesity and being overweight causes all-cause mortality to go up. And I'm trying to get in the lowest all-cause mortality as I can be. And it is hard to be 100%. But it's doable. It is. It is. And so, and then also Carrie says, love that. Also, one of my whys is to be around and to fulfill the promise I made to Carrie to be married for 80 plus years. And to do that, we got to eat a lot healthier and be a lot healthier than we were. So yes, I'm back on track. The whys are still the same. But I'm realizing that I've checked off some of those whys, you know, to get rid of the sleep apnea, to lower my resting heart rate so that when I'm sitting here, my heart rate is at a 60 instead of a 90. You know, and those things are things that I have checked off of my why list. But I have to realize that there's still a lot more things on my list that I need to check off. So thank you guys so much. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, get subscribed to the channel, click on that bell icon, hit the like button on the video if you haven't hit the like button on this video yet. Dustin here says, dude, you and I are the same weight right now. Gonna be on this thing with you. That's awesome, Dustin. Let me know how it goes. Yes, I am chipping away the weight. I'm happy to be chipping it away. It's been interesting. I've been, you know, I have some peers and some people I know that that I used to be heavier than them, and now they're heavier than me, and it's kind of crazy. So it's awesome though. Yes, thanks everybody so much. If you have not started your diet yet, get started right now. There's nothing coming up that's more important than your health and your overall well-being. And there's nobody that reaches their goals, looks back and wishes they would have waited. Everybody wishes they would have gotten started sooner, including me. I'm not even to my goal. And I look back and I wish that the first time I saw that I was over 500 pounds, I wish that would have been the motivator that got me. If it was, then I'd be 6 months further along. And so get started now. You won't regret it. And I will see you guys on the next one.